O. Drea O. Drea O. Drea O. Drea O. Drea O.
I'm from Chicago and
I'm with Drea O right now. Drea O. Drea O. Beautiful Drea O. I'm with my girl Drea O. And she everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. It's crazy.
Cash bought me this hoodie. I wore it in our final interview.
Yeah.
What?
It's just too common. It's real.
You're not scared?
I keep hearing these rumors about Big Del backdooring FBG Cash. I don't think it's true. It just can't be true. I've been ignoring them for the last couple weeks. But now the rumors are getting bigger and bigger and harder to ignore. Did Big Del really backdoor FBG Cash?
I talked to Big Del for hours, and he was such a sweet man. R.I.P. Big Del. It's just absolutely impossible for me to think that Big Del had something to do with the murder of FBG Cash. It's just so insane and outlandish. Like, even the thought of it, there's just no way. So when I kept seeing these stories and these headlines pop up online, at first I just ignored it. Because I'm like, that's impossible. There's no way. But as you can see, the storyline is getting bigger and bigger, and it's really hard to ignore. And me being somebody that spoke with Big Del before he died about FBG Cash, I just think that, it's time for me to say something. And from what I think, Big Del would never do anything like that. He said he loved Cash like a son. So talk to me a little bit about your history with Cash and what you think about the case, and if you feel like, anything will happen with it.
Well, my history with Cash is like in a picture of the Mount of Cooley House, something like that. It's hard to say goodbye. Last time we was all together was my birthday party. It was in my wedding. It's like we was growing on each other to teach them to do better. Yeah, start going out of town, start moving different. They everybody come together, and just to see them get cut down and the way it happened, it all started with Keon was Fat Shawty, and it was like Cash was lost after that.
Cash was his son's best friend. They were together every day. Cash loved Fat Shawty. That was his best friend. And we talked about it in our last interview. Recently, you actually lost somebody that was really close to you. You actually came with him to the interview that we did last year. Fat Shawty.
That's my main sniper, man. I'm kind of numb to all this shit, bro. This shit, basically, life. So fucking, I feel like when I see certain people do shit and they oppose me and I don't go looking for them, I be like, I'm just let the universe eat them. So when I see my homies pass, I feel like I got kids growing up, got kids being born and shit. I feel like, damn, nigga, good nigga, but niggas gotta pass for other people to evolve or whoa. So this shit got numb to me. I don't even see it no more.
Chicago's notorious for the backdoor theme. And they do say sometimes the closest person to you would do you in. But in this case, I just don't think so. I can't fix my mind to think that Big Del would have anything to do with FBG Cash's death. That's what I think, though. So I decided to talk to a few other bloggers and see what they think.
But before there was an O Block Rico, there was supposed to be a GD Rico. And when Duck got killed, that kind of messed things up. But it didn't squash it. And the same person that instigated it is the same person that told the authorities, Cash is next in line. He's the next one up. He's the next one up. He's the next one in line. They were going to put it on Cash. But then he got killed. So then they were going to put it on Dale. And God took Dale. That it's considered squashed right now, but it's not thrown away. It can be reopened up, and it was supposed to be against Tukaville EBT,
Wow.
and that's now changed to FBG EBT.
And that's why Dale felt the feds was on him.
And they were. The crazy thing is, I was given a heads up a couple of years ago about it from a producer that did the hip hop homicides. And again, it was like, okay, I don't follow Dirk and them that way. So, I just put it on a back burner because I had too much on my plate already. I never got back to it. And this actually ties back into it. So this has been something that's being built for a couple of years now, just like all the other Ricos. That's the way the feds handle it.
So wait, are you saying there will be an OTF Rico coming down the pipeline?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And so I went back and watched the video. And when I watched the video, I was like, ain't nowhere in hell people believe this. And then I started seeing other blog sites report on it that I feel even some of them was credible sources. So I had to even just reach out to Loyalty. We talked for about an hour today.
I don't even know how long it was, but yeah.
Yeah, we talked for a long time today because, like she said, I had personal conversations with Big Dale, and some of the people that's speaking out against him, I don't think have his best interests at heart. So they don't mind tarnishing the name of a dead man that they really never liked.
Okay.
It hurts me. Like you said, I heard you saying about before the funeral that they were doing this. In reality, the first time I heard it was the day after he passed. And I didn't even ask any questions of anybody. I got on live and I let that person know what I thought of them. And they've been coming at me ever since. And I don't care because Dale meant that much, not just to me, but to a lot of people. A lot of people. And he really was helping a lot of people. And the dead can't speak up for themselves.
Hasn't been an official update on the FBG Cash case at all, officially. But there are rumors going around that I guess Big Zell, which is the father of his best friend, Fat Shorty, had something to do with setting Cash up or dropping his location. And these rumors have been going around for the last month since Big Zell has passed. So on the show today, we have XMan Reko, and we have Loyalty and Betrayal. And I just want to talk a little bit about everything that's going on. You guys have both been covering this story very closely, and I know you guys have strong opinions on everything that's going on. So first of all, let's start from the beginning. Let's take it back to what you said. The first time you heard this narrative was the day after Big Zell actually passed away. So let's talk about that, because I guess when I started looking into it, there were people that were saying things about the passing of his son, Fat Shorty, and how all of that happened with G Skinny and Cash and everything. So let's just go down, I guess, memory lane and talk a little bit about that and then bring everybody else up to speed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is that the main ones telling the story has changed it every time they make another video. But you're right. There is no updates on Cash's homicide. The rumors, if y'all lose me, it's because I think we're having a hurricane. I'm not sure. When the rumors started a few months ago that there was the FBI had picked up the case, I went to go look and there was no evidence of that. I asked my attorney to check into it, and she said there was no evidence of it as well. And as you know, attorneys have access into the system. And as far as his homicide goes, as far as G Skinny and Fat Shorty's death, that information's been out, and it's what people pick and choose to believe and what they pick and choose to say.
So what's the truth?
Yeah, according to the paperwork that you've seen, break it down for us. For the people,
it's a lot of paperwork, but I can give you a summary. Even Big Dale said it in his lives, even on other people's platforms. It was only family at the party that was invited. Now, the only person that I know of that he specifically said that came that wasn't invited would have been Skinny, but he didn't have a problem with it. And that from what the paperwork states, Skinny came with Fat Shorty. Now, that story through the public has switched around, said Cash brought him and all different things. But according to the paperwork, it says Fat Shorty. Now, Dale didn't have a problem with them being there. The paperwork says that they had rented the ballroom until, I believe it was midnight. And this incident took place shortly before then. So at that point, you got to realize, I don't know what time they all showed, each particular person showed up, but I'm sure they were inebriated. And Dale told me personally, Skinny did not throw a drink at his wife. He said that he knocked over a drink and it, how it rolls across the table, the liquid, and it got on her outfit or whatnot. He never said anything to me about what people are saying, that they said, you're a snitch and this and that and kill him and all that. None of that was said. Yes, he wasn't happy, as nobody would be, but at the same time, that's when Fat Shorty and Skinny and them decided that they were going to go ahead and leave because, like I said, it was almost time to close up anyway. Apparently, the brother may have had some words, and what we need to remember, because I have his actual criminal case as well, not just the death investigation. What we need to remember is he was just released a month prior to this incident happening. And anybody that is aware of what the mentality, can be as far as, I don't want to say nothing bad about him because, he seems like a pretty decent kid, but, disrespecting or anything like that can flare up. So there were words said, but not to the extreme that the internet is saying. According to the paperwork, shortly after the guys left, Dale and his wife started cleaning up, getting ready to close things down. Now, this is coming from the statement from the worker that actually worked at the ballroom. They went ahead and made arrangements that they might take a little bit longer. So they went ahead and they paid, I think, for another hour to make sure that they got it all cleaned up like they're supposed to. Because if you've ever rented a hall, you've got certain things that you got to abide by, getting all the tablecloths up and, emptying the trash, the whole 9 yards. And so they wanted to make sure that they were within that time frame. So at this point, Dale doesn't even know that there's an issue going on outside. And like, I think you said it earlier, Reeko. I think you said something about the footage and cameras. I lost count how many cameras footages that they actually picked up for evidence. So everything is on footage. They haven't released that, but it is from the inside the ballroom to out in the parking lot to the bank. Was it Chase Bank? I think it was. Everything around the whole block, the whole 9 yards. There are numerous witnesses, some that were not even associated with the party. The part about a person in the green jumpsuit, which is supposed to be Cash. The employee for the ballroom, his statement said there was somebody in a green jumpsuit that went out the door, but they left the door open. And when they came back in, they did have a gun in their hand. Now, according to statements from people outside, they said that Cash picked up Skinny's gun and took it. And, like a lot of people have told me, that's something that is just known that you do that when your homie gets shot or something or whatever. If he's got something on him, you take it and you go, And so that was it. Never was said anything about him shooting anybody or nothing. Dale's, when they did hear something, it was Skinny that was injured outside. They did not know about Fat Shorty. Dale's sister, who is the nurse, she started performing CPR until the EMS and them got there. The other rumor that I heard was that Fat Shorty was shot with a non-life-threatening wound, and that's absolutely incorrect because the body sheet in the case file shows that he was shot, in my opinion, looks like almost directly to the heart from the side. And to me, I believe, it doesn't say it specifically, but knowing where the shots hit, I could picture him like putting his left arm around Skinny or something, saying, "Come on, let's go, dude," type of thing. At the same time, the brother's starting to shoot. And that's how the brother ended up shooting both of them. They left Skinny and they took Fat Shorty to go get him to the hospital. They ended up at a clinic. The clinic put him in an ambulance and took him to the hospital. That pretty much summarizes the incident itself that took place. As far as the aftermath goes, yes, Dale made arrangements to meet the authorities at the church to give his statement. So it was nobody didn't just swoop up in there and just pop up on him out of nowhere. Because anybody that really knows Dale and knows his schedule, he works. He's not always going to be sitting in that church just doing nothing. So nobody would know that, oh, let's go swoop up in there. That's just crazy to think that. He made the arrangements and they set the time and everything. And the authorities came in, they took his statement, the whole 9 yards. And that's when he said about his older son. He says, if he doesn't come down, I'll bring him myself so he can make his statement. And that's what he ended up doing. The son went down to make his statement. Within the same, I want to say the same 24 hours, going by the date that's handwritten on the case file, on that specific document. If that date's correct, it was within the first 24 hours of the incident. The assistant state's attorney's office rejected charges of homicide and claimed that it was self-defense. Going with everybody's statements. Now, a lot of people say, so then why is he locked up? He's not locked up for the homicides. He's locked up because what he was on parole with was a gun charge already. He had previous gun charges. And they did not revoke him because of the shooting. They revoked him because of the possession of the gun. There's a difference. So it kind of sounds dumb or splitting hairs maybe, but he's not in trouble for shooting the gun. He's just in trouble for having
it, because he was probably either on parole or a felon. He's not supposed to have a weapon.
That's what he had just gotten out.
He was on parole
like about a month ago, before the incident. And so he had, I think it was like 2 years, and I'm going off the top of my head because I don't have my papers in front of me, but because if I put my papers out here, I'm going to read you every line. I want to say it was like 2 years left is what he has to finish out. And like I said, I know that because, like I said, I got his criminal case file. So I know what the previous charges were. I mean, it's got all the statements in there. He got busted with his girlfriend and he got her to throw the gun. I mean, the whole 9 yards. So I know all that. So every time I hear all these stories, and I heard it again tonight, that he got booked for the homicide. No, he never did. Nobody was ever booked for the homicide because they're not calling it a homicide. It was self-defense.
So how was it self-defense? Was it because G Skinny was shooting too?
Because G Skinny had the gun as well.
But
and I don't know if G Skinny actually, you know what? I take it back. G Skinny upped the gun on him because his son was shot as well.
So G Skinny shot? G Skinny, whose son? Wait, go ahead. Say it again.
I mean, the only other person that is spoken about having a gun was Skinny. He had to have shot back.
Okay. You said somebody's son had the gun. You mean you talking about Big Dale? Okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay. The way that it's worded in there, Dale tells the authorities, my son got hit also. Now, it's not specific. at least not from my memory. It's if him saying Fat Shorty, the way that I read it, it seemed like he was saying his older son, but it must not have been critical or serious because there's nothing in there about, well, we got to go to the hospital and get a statement type of thing. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when it could have just been a graze room. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of stories were going around that G Skinny had numerous gunshot wounds, and that's not accurate either. And that's why I say it's very frustrating for somebody like myself who actually has that information and